We are live. So thank you so much, Christina, for joining us today. So by way of introduction, Christina is the co-CEO of SingularityU Australia and also founder of UtopiaX. Christina's a sought-after speaker, facilitator, and program designer, creating interactive educational experiences driven by design thinking, purpose, engagement, and play. The programs disrupt current mindsets to moonshot thinking, exploring what is possible rather than what is accepted or limited. Christina has created highly customized programs for clients, including Deloitte, IAG, Bupa, Employment Hero, and Entrepreneurs Organization. Christina enables the enablers to catalyze change. She works with executives and leaders to alchemize impossible to possible through the unleashing of human potential by opening hearts and minds. Further, Christina is also the founder of Idea Walks. Idea Walks is a platform where ideas are sparked, making innovation and creativity everyone's business. Finally, Christina has presented keynotes and workshops at the Singularity University, Entrepreneurs Organization, SingularityU Australia Summit, Vivid Ideas, Creative Innovation in Melbourne, Inspiring Women Leaders Digital Conference in Madrid, and Front End Innovation Conference in Boston. Wow.
That's so long.
Yeah. What an accomplishment. What a lineup. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you for spending some time to share with us. How are you?
I'm very well, my absolute pleasure. And I'm just going to confess to everybody that it's my fault we're late and I'm really sorry. So
that's all good. So to start off, Christina, you're forming part of our Boss Your Economy Women Empowerment Program. So this is why we're really happy to have you with us here today. So to kind of kick off, would you mind sharing with us briefly your journey as a woman leader entrepreneur? And what does woman empowerment mean to you?
So thank you for having me on the program. And I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing and looking forward to supporting you in so many more ways after being late. I guess my journey started from birth, really. I have entrepreneurship in my blood. I have entrepreneurship in my family. My grandfather invented choc tops, although they used to call them chocolate bombs. My uncle invented a very early form of talking books and snap freeze cans. So that's all a remarkable story because we were the guinea pigs. So he would test out his talking books on us. Unfortunately, my grandfather invented choc bombs much before I was born, so I didn't get to actually sample those, but my father did. So I've had that whole do anything is possible, go for what you want from a very early age, which is a very big blessing in the world of entrepreneurship. And I kind of went from one career into another. I went from law to television to running a music business school to a variety of different things. And I think it was that collection of wanting to know more, wanting to learn more, and then really wanting to be able to help other people find what their passions were and enable people to do exactly what it was that they wanted to do and had to have the faith to be able to go and chase what they wanted. What does women empowerment mean to me? It means absolutely everything, to know that people can achieve whatever they want to achieve. They just have to formulate what that dream is. They have to formulate the goal, have a clear path on how to get there. And that's the part of the journey that we really love being a part of. So women empowerment, I think, is extremely important. I think people empowerment is very much important. And I also believe that right now in this day and age, we're actually coming to a point where we're realizing the power of people power as well, and people having a voice. And that's a whole other digital conversation, but I'll just stop there.
No, that's fantastic. I love hearing you speak. And why does the world need more women leaders and more women entrepreneurs, do you think?
Empathy is the first word that comes to mind around that. I think it's very important that we are able to show that empathy. I think it's, you know, I have this theory that many years ago, thousands of years ago, we're said to have been a matriarchal society. And then we've moved into this patriarchal era. And what we've realized perhaps is that neither work beautifully. There's this imbalance between male and female, yin and yang, whatever words you want to use to describe it. And I think we need more female leaders right now, for more female leader entrepreneurs, because we need to balance the universe. We need to find that balance in the cosmos as well. And it's synchronous that we're having this conversation today. I was walking with a fellow female entrepreneur who has a remarkable business, speaking in color this morning, and we were recounting a story of a couple of female entrepreneurs in the tech industry, and it is very much a tech business that they've got. And they recalled going some years ago to a tech conference, and they were the only two females there. And not only that, they were the only two females there, though they were the only people there probably over the age of 45. And that hesitancy of other people to talk to them, and almost this feeling that they didn't belong there, and things like that make me go, that is why the world needs more. It needs to be normal. It needs to be normal to have female entrepreneurs, and it needs to be normal to have female leaders. Not, oh, look, New Zealand's got a female leader. Isn't that amazing? It should be, hey, look, New Zealand's got a new leader. Here's what her name is, and here's what her policy and governance systems are. So for me, until we reach that, we're not actually saying that it's a female leader or a, you know, won't it be awesome when we don't actually have to go, hey, world, we need more female CEOs, you know, that it's there and we don't actually have to use those words anymore.
Exactly. Fantastic. That's so true. And just personally, you, as you have kind of gone throughout your career, have you kind of come across situations like you mentioned of that lady this morning where you kind of thought, oh, maybe there's a lack of representation or anything that's kind of caught your attention in that regard?
Actually, sadly, no. The only person I ever had an issue with was another female. So, but I think I would love to have sat down at one point in time and discovered where that came from. And I think it was a lack of empowerment. So if I like, this is my total interpretation of the situation, but I do believe it was the lack of empowerment that caused her to behave in the way she did. So had that not been the case, you know, but I've had a very blessed career and very blessed with managers and mentors who have been both male and female, but have seen a person and not necessarily a male or a female. But I do know lots of horror stories where females have been very badly treated. In fact, one of my managers who supported me all the way through was the victim of some such occurrences, and the strength that she showed to stand steadfast and to stand for what she believed in and continue the support for the people that she believed in was quite remarkable. And that's what empowered her then to go on and support other female leaders.
Fantastic. Yeah, I do still think there's a lot of people that perhaps don't currently realize the inequalities that kind of still exist and why we're still having to have this conversation. So I think it's really important to just keep highlighting these stories and kind of speaking out until people kind of realize. And I guess the whole mentality has changed a little bit more around it as well.
Couldn't agree more, Annalise. And I think just the numbers, by having to actually say, there's only, you know, X percentage of female CEOs in the world, and there's only X percentage of female leaders in the world. Why is it that we have to sprout those numbers? And it's because of the total inequality. So until you actually see that, you don't potentially realize what that is. So we're very big on supporting people all the way through, but we're very big on making sure that at some point there's an equal conversation happening. And I think that's, so, you know, one of the worst things I did see was a group of people absolutely disrespect a female in a meeting. And it wasn't until we actually all stood up and said, hey, and to his credit as well, I had a male colleague, and as soon as he realized what was going on, he stood up as well. and I think things like that are very important. So one of my beliefs is that if you ignore something, then you're complicit. So I've been very lucky to have been supported by people like this male colleague, but B, to also be strong enough to call out when things haven't been going right. So I think that's really important. And I think that's where females also need to band together and go, hey, you know, we're noticing some behaviors here that aren't quite right. And it's particularly around leadership tables. And there's nothing worse than having a female colleague actually put forward an idea and then it's almost completely ignored. And then a couple of minutes later, a male colleague will put the idea forward and all of a sudden everybody can hear it. And this actually happened in this meeting as well. And the male colleague said, oh, thanks, X. You actually said that a couple of minutes ago. So he very much pointed that out. But I have seen that happen so many times and luckily been in a room where it's usually a female that calls it out. And nowadays, what I'm noticing more is females themselves calling it out. But, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that and how annoying it is. So if anyone's listening and you see that happen, make sure you call it out.
Fantastic. I love that message. And I think it's completely in line with the whole women empowerment in every kind of sense of that term. In line with that, why is the entrepreneurship mindset vital for anyone in life, whether that person be an entrepreneur or even an intrapreneur and working for someone else?
Because I actually started as an entrepreneur. If anything had to happen in the organization I was working with, and it was education at the time, they'd come to me and they'd go, do you want to do this? And I'd go, yeah, sure, why not? Because I think it's really important. It is a mindset, and it's a mindset for change. And if you don't have a mindset for change, whatever business you're in right now, you're going to not do very well. If you don't have a social bottom line attached to the business that you're in right now, you also will not do very well. So we're very much in an era of impact and needing to make a difference. And I think that you need to have that mindset change in order to be the entrepreneur or the entrepreneur. And you need to have that sense of bravery and belief in what it is that you're doing. But I'd love to share with you my favorite mindset story, if that's okay. So I was at a Singularity event at the NASA campus in Palo Alto a few years ago now. And I was served, I've been a vegetarian for 25 years, a very long time. And I was served up a piece of 3D printed meat. Anyway, I rejected it. And when I got home and I was telling my family about what happened, my daughter looked at me and said, did you try it? And I said, of course I didn't try it. I'm a vegetarian. Why would I try it? And she said, but all the reasons that you're a vegetarian, she said, no animals were killed. And environmentally, like I had actually shared with them that there was, 11 times less water used in the production of this. There were 25% less carbon emissions, 18% less land used. And she said to me, all those reasons that you're a vegetarian didn't exist. Why didn't you try it? And I went, oh, like, what a point. Here's me working in innovation at this point in time for 10 years at least. And my mindset, even though I thought it was wide open, was not as open to new experiences as I thought it was. So I really like to say to people, what's your vegetarian moment, even if you're not a vegetarian? So what is your vegetarian moment? Where is it that you think you're open-minded, but you're actually not? You're quite closed-minded, even though you don't have that realization. And I think we all need to be aware of that, because if we're going to progress, that's where the open mindset needs to come in. And if we're going to have the kind of life that we want to leave to our children and our children's children, that is a mindset. And if you go back thousands of years into history, and cultures and tribes were concerned about legacy, and they were concerned about what might happen, 7 generations into the future, it was about having an open mindset to be able to accept all things that would and could be possible in order to create the kind of society that you wanted to create, to leave as your legacy. So, stay open-minded. If you're not open-minded, you're not curious. If you're not curious, you're not learning. If you're not learning, you get left behind. And it's the lessons of the past, the present, and the future that will form that entrepreneurial mindset that we all need people to have.
I love it. Fantastic. And I think that's a really important concept, that of limiting beliefs. What are our limiting beliefs as individuals? Because we all have them, knowingly or unknowingly. Mostly at a subconscious level, there are lots of things that we kind of have in our head, things that we believe to be true, but based on our experiences, and that may not necessarily actually be reality, right? So that's such an important point to kind of always try to maintain an open mind, and also question yourself, what is it that you believe to be true that might actually not be true for everyone?
I love that you brought up limiting beliefs, because again, you know, I had a conversation recently about a ceiling somebody had put on themselves, and that was their limiting belief. They said, but this was my postcode. You know, who was I to actually progress and to do something that was beyond my postcode? And she had set herself this ceiling that she's now cracked, mind you. But also, so when I was in education, and we used to teach by example. So we taught music business by running a music festival, as you do. And, you know, you work 90 hours instead of the allotted time that you're meant to be working, but, you know, that's how you do it. So, and I had a student come up to me, and if the students had been with us for a couple of years, we would say to them, okay, then you can organize these workshops. If you're going to organize a workshop, we're going for A-class acts. We don't just want anybody coming in to run a workshop. Anyway, I had a student come in, and she said, look, I want to get Renee Geyer to run a workshop. And Renee Geyer, for those of you that don't know, who might be too young to know, is the rhythm and blues queen of Australia. And this student said to me, you know, I told the class, and the class laughed. And I said, well, what chance have you got right now of getting Renee Geyer? And she went, well, none. And I said, okay, if you ask her, what chance have you got? Not 50-50. Anyway, by the time we boiled down to it, it was like, I said to her, what have you got to lose? If you do reach out and you do ask, what have you got to lose? Because we have this mantra that says, don't ask, don't get. And we just had it written all over the walls in this particular area. Anyway, to cut a long story short, she asked Renee Geyer. Renee Geyer came, ran the best vocal workshop I've ever been a part of, because I used to sing in a band as well. That was part of my music background. Ran the best vocal workshop and mentored the student for 12 months. And you kind of go, if you hadn't broken that limiting belief that the students are just laughing at me, she'll never come, what hope have I got? If she hadn't broken that ceiling, so many experiences wouldn't have happened. And, you know, if Renee Geyer hadn't come to do the workshop, she would have lost nothing. And she still would have been ahead in her communications and in the research that she had done as well. So there is nothing to lose by the don't ask, don't get mantra.
Absolutely. And I think that is really kind of linked to biologically, our brain is always kind of trying to keep us to survive. No, that's its kind of core function. So naturally, we're always kind of carving out in our minds the worst case scenario, when we might be embarrassed, we might be rejected, and all of these things are kind of getting in our way and stopping like amazing things like this from happening, when it's just so simple to reach out to someone and have that.
We actually give that character a name. So in some of the workshops and that we do, we've got, you know, I don't know, call it whatever you will. This might be Amanda and this might be Roger. And Amanda goes, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And Roger goes, oh, they're going to laugh at you. This is never going to work. That mistake that you made before, that's going to come back to haunt you. This isn't, you're going to get a bad review. So we teach everybody to go, shut up, Roger. You know, so
exactly.
And to go, okay, Amanda, you've got to lead the cheer squad, which sounds a bit like, you know, a bit weird when you talk about, but if you actually use it as a tool, it can be quite remarkable, because we all have these voices in our heads. And particularly at times, if we've made a mistake in the past and you want to overcome that, or your curiosity says, hey, this is something new that you want to do, then we have those negative voices going, hey, this could happen again. Are you willing to risk it? You've just got over that. Do you think you want to really go back there? So we all have that voice in our head that is either encouraging or discouraging. And as you say, that flight or fight mechanism that's in the limbic brain that controls how we react to things, it goes, no, run. But if we actually plant our feet firmly on the ground, and I absolutely believe that if you're facing outward and your whole intent is to give what you can and be of service to as many people as you possibly can and improve other people's lives, which entrepreneurs do all the time because they've found a problem and it's their whole mission to go out there and fix it. So if you're outward facing and you're being, I call it standing secure in the space that you want to be in. So you stand secure in the space you want to be in, you outward face, and then it doesn't matter what they say about me because it's not about me. It's about the things that I can help with. And if you don't take anything away from how I'm trying to help you, then you don't. That's, so be it. But if I can share with you something that will help you, if I can give you a tool because here's my toolkit, if I can do anything like that, then it's such a bonus in moving people forward.
Absolutely. I think I really love what you said there. It's kind of focusing more on your purpose. What are you trying to achieve rather than you you personally, rather. It's about everyone else and how you can service them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So so what do entrepreneurs do? They find something that's not working and they go, particularly female entrepreneurs, they will find where the gap is. We don't go mind the gap, we go mind the gap, find the gap, where is the gap, what's not working, and how can you fix it? It might be that you fix it by some huge tech advancement, or it might be that you fix it by some small process. And that's why I also believe that, particularly when we're talking about entrepreneurship, it's everyone in the organization's business. And it's that whole team effect. So you have the entrepreneur, for example, if we're talking, just talk entrepreneurs for a minute. If you have the entrepreneur that goes, hey, this isn't working the best way it can, I've got a couple of ideas. Everyone in the organization doesn't want to be an entrepreneur, but innovation is everyone's business because the entrepreneur has the idea, the tech team, it may be the tech team that helps put it together. The marketing team may help the message around it. The advertising team might take it out. So it's a team effort and it takes all those different experts in their fields. But we really need to encourage the entrepreneurs, the Imagineers, because without them, we won't have that progress. We won't have that problem solving capacity, but without everyone else, we won't be able to bring it into reality. So everybody has a place at the table, everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think kind of just going back to that concept of risk, as a CEO, like that's a huge responsibility. When you come across like huge decisions in your day-to-day or the running of the business, how do you decide whether to take the risk or if you don't think it's worth going forward with?
So I'm very fortunate to have an amazing co-CEO, and I can't recommend that highly enough. And if you don't have the fortune of having a co-CEO, get a 2IC because you really need people to bounce ideas around. I'm also part of a couple of mentoring groups. So we mentor, we have a couple of accelerator startup mentoring groups, but we are also ourselves embedded in our own mentoring group. I think that's super important to have that support and to find out what other people might do in your situation. And it may not resonate with you. What they might say something and it won't resonate with you. It won't be the path that you want to take, but boy, don't you have an answer there? That is not the path I want to take in this particular arena. So I think taking a risk is really important. I believe that we're maybe only just now, and like how many years has the word innovation strategies, entrepreneurship, everything been around? And we go, fail fast, take a risk. It's okay. I think it's becoming easier to take a risk now because we have things like digital twinning, because we have other people to bounce ideas off. But I think we've only just started to walk the talk around, hey, it's okay to fail. And, how many cliches there are around failure. Edison failed 999 times before he did. There's so many of them. But I think they're only just starting to land. And I think it's easy to iterate, prototype, test different ideas now because of technology. I think the metaverse is going to make that much easier as well, like digital twinning already is. So I think, how do we make the decisions? We look around at what's going on. We have colleagues. We're very, very lucky to have colleagues all over the world. So we reach out to them and go, hey, has anyone had experience in this? We have mentoring groups. Can't stress enough the importance of being around like-minded people and having that mentoring group to support you. So there's a variety of tools, and I guess it depends on what the item is that we're about to take the risk on. and what, maybe the financial costs. We very rarely take a risk where there's a human. Well, we don't take a risk where there's a human cost. It's usually a financial risk, really, what people are taking. So we wouldn't take anything that's a human personal risk, which is a completely different arena. Might I be ridiculed? Maybe. I'm prepared to take that risk. That's a different form of risk as well, but as much support as you can get from as many people as you can get. And then you don't go to all of them all the time. You don't kind of go, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? But you know where to go. We also trust our gut a lot. I think science always proves what we've always known to be true. And that whole heart, head, brain connection is being scientifically investigated, scientifically proven. We know the powers of meditation and the whole calmness and how it allows us to make better decisions. Journaling, journaling is amazing. So particularly where it comes to what decision am I going to make? What do I want to do? Just to get that clarity out for yourself and not have it just travel around your brain. The connection between the brain, the hand, the written word is quite remarkable as well. So there's a lot of different tools. You really need to find the tools that best sit with you. And that can be a bit of an adventure in itself. But always learn, always go out and learn, always talk to people, always have connections.
Again, coming back to that kind of open-mindedness and curiosity, isn't it? Fantastic. And just a last question. So what is the best piece of advice you would give to a younger version of yourself?
Oh, that's such a big question. And I've been asked that question, and it usually the answers are quite long, so I can't try and keep this short. I think the confidence factor is very big. And I think it's take the risk actually and put yourself in the places where you want to be before you're actually ready to be there. I think I've been very blessed to have a life of continuous learning. I could never get enough. And to all those people that are polymaths out there, go for it. It's okay. Your time has come. That was one thing that really used to annoy me. I'd go into what I would perceive would be my next iteration of a career and go, this is all I'm going to do now. I'm not going to lose focus. And then I would find myself doing this as well, and that as well, and that as well. And I can tell you absolutely right now that every single one of those experiences comes together and has taught me so much about what we're doing now. So go out and have those experiences. Don't rely on formal education. Do not rely on formal education. It can teach you a lot. It can teach you great skills. It doesn't really teach you at the moment, I don't believe, what it is that you need to get out there. It's the experiences that you can have, and it's the people that you learn from. So in those educational arenas, seek out the people that make an influence and that talk your language. Find your tribe, but don't only sit in your tribe. Find out from other people. See, I told you I give myself lots of advice. Don't just sit in your tribe. Go and find out from a great variety of people what it is that you can learn.
Fantastic. I love that. I think that's really, really important advice. Well, that's time. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed chatting to you. I wish we'd kind of had more time, to be honest, because there's so many other things that I would have loved to have asked you. But thank you so much, Christina, for joining us today, for your time, and for sharing with us your incredible knowledge and expertise. I'm sure it'll be of value to many people who are watching.
Thank you so much. And I love what you're doing, I've got to say. So fantastic, and we love to support you in any future endeavors. And I just love the term Academy of Entrepreneurs. I think it's fantastic. So thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. Well, that's all, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.